we also wanted to do mobile for this page. So let's turn this into a mobile ready page. Right now, if you guys resize the browser, it looks pretty terrible, right? So we're gonna add some, we're gonna disable the, we're gonna turn the flex into a different orientation, and then that should be able to put it in the right positions. So if you want to open your portfolio page .svelte, we're going to update the styles inside. All right. So we have a portfolio class that wraps everything. This is, at the moment, applying this flex style to all sizes. But what we can do is add a media query. So to create a media query, you want to say @media, and then max width 7. You can do 800 pixels just to keep it simple. And then inside you want to target dot portfolio as well. Say flex direction. And this one I usually get wrong on the first try, but let's try row.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. So it's not row, it's column. And if you try and resize the window now, you'll see that if your window is larger than 800 pixels, it will resize itself outside. It looks like we probably want to go down quicker, so maybe 1,000 pixels is probably a good point, because the images we have are actually 300 pixels wide already, so you don't want it to be squished too early. Wow, is it? It's, oh, because we have some margins on the side, right? Right. So even though we have extra space, it's taken up by the margins. So what can we do there? You could make it wrap. Okay, so what's it? Flex wrap. Yeah, flex wrap, and then say wrap. This should put them onto different lines, which could look okay. And this is where our space around or space between will determine where things go. Okay, so if you do between, it looks kind of cleaner. Space around would center the third item, which kind of looks weird, but maybe you want that. And then when you size smaller, it goes onto a single column. And this is what we call a media query. Media queries are for detecting the size of a screen. So in this case, we're saying the max size. When the max size is less than 1,000 pixels, then we want to do this stuff. is less than 1000 above, apply this other flex property. So the flex direction property controls which way the Flexbox is laid out. Normally it's laid out horizontally, and when we switch it to the mobile view, we want to lay it out in a column. So that's probably a good idea to remember. The column is a single column, right? So it's gonna line it up, stacked on top of each other. So when we lay it out in a single column, you can see that it does get scrunched up. So what you can do inside here is add the additional, add the other CSS properties, CSS classes. So inside, we want to say flex row, and maybe add some margin below. Margin bottom. I'm also not liking the circles outside to the left. So we could add some styles to move that inside. Where is the ULs? So in your UL, you can add a padding that should add some internal space. Padding left. You can add like 16 pixels, let's say. Yeah. Just want to look at the layout a little bit to see what's going on. So the div up here is a width of 300 pixels. And then down there, there's some additional space for the UL. Okay. Padding left. Oh, I think we gave the LI 300 pixels. Let's move the the width from the LI into the UL. You want to keep everything consistent. If you do that, okay, so there shouldn't be any more text sticking out from the right side, to the right of the image anyway. What can we do to center the item in the card itself? Are you okay, Waylon?
Yeah.
So we can add something here as well in the portfolio class. So add media portfolio. If you want to add a justify content here, center. Ooh, okay. So maybe not justify content. We're going to do align items. Center. Make a liar out of me. No, it did work. It just took a little time. So if I disable it, you see it shuffles itself to the left and aligns itself to the left. We don't want that to happen. It looks like there's a lot more space on the right side here, and it doesn't look quite right. So align items. When we had a vertical view, when we had the layout in horizontal, align items would actually align it vertically. But since we switched the alignment direction, the flex direction, now align items is aligning items horizontally. Okay. So I guess you guys can play around with that. I think we had this align items in another place. If you go to your to-do page.svelte, we used align items to vertically align the checkbox and all that other stuff into the same plane, like the button text and the input text, not the input, it was the checkbox text and the checkbox icon are all aligned vertically, right? So this is centers things vertically, but this is because we're still looking at the page in a horizontal format. Okay, please load. Oh, geez, that looks terrible. Yeah, we added some styles to when I was going over this with another student. So yours doesn't look like this. All right. So this is actually pretty decent. Right? If you go all the way up in size, it will go into the single column. If you go down a little bit, please let me resize. Yeah. So this is what's called responsive design. If right now everybody is holding a phone and they can view websites on a phone, and you want to have your site render correctly when somebody's looking at your site on a phone. The phone's not going to have a lot of horizontal space, right? Like it's laid out vertically, right? It's very tall, not very wide. So there's some different design considerations when you want to code for the phone, and that's how you do it. This is with media queries. Go back to the other page, and then you can have different breakpoints as well. So if there's a different breakpoint at like 700 pixels, you can have some different styles. You might even want to target the images and make them smaller. I wonder if you can override the image size here. The image size here should take precedence because it is inline. Do we have anything targeting images? No, we don't. Okay. Do you get some of that? I'll walk you through it later.
Okay.
So you can add additional stuff to this list of things that you've learned. I want to sort of change it up and turn it into like a checkbox so that, you know, when you learn about styling via class, then you can check it off. There's several different ways of styling an element, and then adding like spaces around or inside. That's with margins and paddings. There's positioning. So we went over this last time with the text overlay for the image. And everything can be styled with a border. I sort of want to add a border to this image, or at least a border radius. So you guys should go ahead and try and personalize this. So when you're writing all of this stuff out with the LIs, think of it as like what you've learned so far, I guess. and try to review what we've done. The major items are like this Flexbox stuff. You're going to see this everywhere. And you're also going to see media queries everywhere. Let me add that image border radius. I'm going to add 6 pixels. Might be a little too much. Yeah, it looks a little softer. I don't know why this. What the heck is going? Oh. Ah. Okay, so I don't want to add it to the image. I want to add it to the div, the cutoff div. Yeah. So I'm gonna remove that. So I'm not sure if you guys saw. So if you look over here, you notice that the borders on the top are rounded, but the borders at the bottom aren't. That's because we cut off the image, right? So the one over here, the shortest one, has the proper rounded borders on all sides, but the ones that got cut off have sharp border corners, and that's because we want to apply it to the parent here. So the cutoff was our parent that hosted the image. We want to have that as the one that has the border radius. So if you do that, now all of them should have the soft corners. I know a lot of websites will use like a drop shadow. You can add the same here. So drop shadow, box shadow. And this one takes three units. So the first one is like left and right. The second one is top, up and down. And then the third one is how big your border shadow is. So we can exaggerate it and see how it looks. So if you save that, it's shifted 4 pixels down and 4 pixels to the right, and then it has a 10 pixel border width. So it slowly fades out over 10 pixels basically. And if you change it up, change up this last number, yeah, so if you say 4 pixels, it looks a lot more pronounced. But you can change the color as well, I believe. I'm gonna go to the reference just to double check. So when you hover over a CSS property, there is a link, so you can open that. Yeah, so if you type a color after the 3 units, you should be able to give it a custom color. Yeah, that looks terrible. Usually a gray color is nicer for shadows. So if you want a gray color, somewhere around 888999, this is hexadecimal. I don't know if I've taught you guys about hexadecimal numbers. Basically, it's A to F, and then 0 to 6. No. Sorry. It is 0 to 9 and A to F. Sorry. So any of the numbers and letters in that range can be used in a 6 or 3 letter combo. So I'm going to get rid of those. So you can do 3 or 6. And the first 2 is for red. I want to add a comment. So the first 2 are for red, the second 2 are for green, and the last 2 are for blue. So if you do full red and no blue and no green, it should give you a preview actually as well. And then you can use the preview to select a different color. But that's what those numbers mean, okay? So let me go back to 888. And now we have a small soft shadow. We had it as black before. That's the default color, and that's why it looks so overwhelming. And it's little adjustments like this. You don't want to have something stand out too much. When it stands out too much, then it's, I don't know. If you look at some older websites, you'll sort of see what I mean is everything pops out at you and nothing looks clean. It looks dirty, actually dirty. We have any GeoCity sites? It's not even searchable anymore. I'm trying to find an example for you, but it's a good thing that it's not there anymore. Let's see what this guy says. Oh yeah, so there's not even that much styles going on in this guy. Motor City. Oh yeah, okay. This is back in the day when you just put anything on the web. Like this guy. Oh my god, look at the colors here.
Oh.
and images in the background, just random images. And this fancy graphic back there. You never see that nowadays. This is back in the days when, yeah, just anything went. So
anything worked?
Not everything works. It looks disgusting, right? Like, look at this guy. Holy crap. What is going on here? Okay. That's enough history, I guess.
Is it history?
It's internet history. GeoCities. And a lot of it has to do with like new new CSS properties. Like if you wanted to center something back in the day, it was very hard. Nowadays we have flex and align items. Back in the day you had to do
10,000 stuff.
maybe like
A long time of researching.
left 50 or it's very convoluted. I don't even remember how to do it. You just have to look it up and copy it from somewhere. It's you didn't want to code for the back for the old websites. Do you guys have any questions about what we did? I will get back to you about the GitHub publishing because it shouldn't have been that hard.
Were you guys doing something that I didn't do?
Yeah, you missed the portfolio stuff. You didn't do any of the portfolio page stuff, like this thing. You don't have any of it, right?
Yeah. Do I need it?
You don't have to, but it's nice if you learned it.
Okay.
Ooh, what happened to this? Can I check your flex row? Your flex row should have a flex direction. It does. Column. Something's wrong there.
Yeah.
You have too many L's.
Oh.
Now save and see what's going on, because I don't think it was rendering the correct stuff. So that text should be under there,
Yeah.
which means that should be in a same element. Do you have your code correctly formatted? It's not formatted. Okay. I thought I asked you to follow along. Okay, so you need to add, you have the cutoff, you do. And then the H2 tag is supposed to wrap your JavaScript, and then that needs to go inside. So do a Alt up or Option up. Yeah, and then you want to type these tags around your JavaScript. H2. So after that, the ULs are also in the wrong place. So you want to move that up. Select the two lines and do Option up. You don't have to select all of it, just enough so that you can, you don't have to select all of it. What I do is I just go in the middle, press Shift, click down here, and then now I have these two, right? Now I can move them up and down with Option up and down. Okay? You don't want to move it inside there. I didn't say move it inside there. Move it after the div for the cutoff. So up one. Okay. Actually, no, that's too far in. Down. Okay. And then you want to add a UL around it. UL around your LIs. Yes.
I have a question. How do you change the whole page into a different color?
The whole page into a different color. So, yeah, we can do that. So we do that from the layout dots felt. The layout dots felt is what's going to be used for all of your pages, and this is where our main element is as well. Now, this main element it might actually be better to do it from the app.css and say body, and then provide a background color. So this color you can, if you do any of the hex available letters and numbers, you can go through and pick. So if I save this, oh geez, that looks terrible. But yes, that's how you would go about it.
That looks terrible. Does not look good.
No, I know. It's just how to do it. You can change up the background color however you want. Next time around, I'm going to find out how to do the GitHub pages properly. And we're going to look at parallax.
Okay.
Parallax images. Yeah, I know, that looks kind of weird. You got to do it for all of them, though. But at least you have the borders for one of them. What's going on? You have, no, you didn't follow along. So now it's, You have to have the same structure for all of it. UL, LI, the divs with the cutoff, the Flexbox, all that stuff was still required. I need to change that back. Do you have any other questions? Okay. Yes. Aside from parallax, we should probably do a case study soon. So let's chat on Discord. We're gonna take a look at some of our favorite sites and then see which one we want to replicate. And that way, it'll give us an opportunity to say, hey, we can build a web app like YouTube, like Netflix, or whatever we want to try to remake. Hopefully it won't be that complicated, but we're just gonna look at replicating the basic layout, and we can also use Unsplashed to get the images if we're building some sort of gallery or whatnot. When we're looking at YouTube, all those preview images, we can just use an image as a placeholder. We don't want to rebuild YouTube. We can rebuild the layout for YouTube.
YouTube is too complicated.
Yeah, so put what you think you want to try and rebuild, and then we can try and rebuild it. Okay.
Thank you.
I want to rebuild Minecraft.
Bye.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Bro, what happened? What's so funny? I said I want to rebuild Minecraft.